Thank you for joining me today for another episode of Build Your Poetry Manuscript with KMA. I'm KMA Sullivan, founder and publisher at Yes Yes Books, and today's episode is the necessary precision of poetic language. Why does poetic language need to be precise? The first reason is we just have so many fewer words that we're dealing with. The average poetry collection is between 60 to 80 pages of poetry. Could be less, could be more, of course, but average. And how many words are on each of those pages? Sometimes a fair few, and sometimes hardly any at all. Meanwhile, in novels, what are they? Between 250 and 500 pages long? Between 250 and 300 words per page? In my universe anyway, a powerful poetry collection is absolutely equal in impact and importance as a powerful novel, a well-written novel. And yet, how many fewer words are being used? Now, by precise, I do not mean simple, not at all. We can certainly offer moments of crystal clarity in poetry. And when they've been earned, those moments are spectacular. But there is a kind of earning that needs to happen, and that's going to be a topic for a different video. So, words are precise, but not necessarily simple. Poetic language is also compressed. Huge heart, huge engine, in a tiny little package. Poetic language is also often multifaceted in meaning, where many meanings can live together in the same word and even more incredibly mean different things at the same time. So it's not just that their different meanings are theoretical, but that they're happening in that moment, in that line, in poetry. Poetic language is meant to bring us to powerful moments of emotional recognition. The poet may also be bringing us to moments of historical and cultural awareness, to epiphanies of various kinds, large and small, loud and quiet. And for this to happen, we need words that are uniquely suited to these moments. Where do we find this language? I would say that there are three major locations. The first is in books, which is why the first episode in this video series was Read Your Ass Off. It's so important for us to drown ourselves in language so that it can just wash over our mind and we can be feeling the different ways that words are used, the different contexts, the different meanings. And that will happen as we read and read and read. The second source of this precise language is created language. So that's you taking words that already exist in some particular form and changing them to suit the moment you are creating. So a noun turned into a verb, for example. A new compound word. It is not new for the sake of cleverness or surprise. It's new because the word combination suits the exact moment you're trying to get at in your poetry. And the third and most important source of precise language is in yourself. Because when you go down into yourself, your experiences, your memories, you will find things unique to you and immensely powerful. Let's say that the context of the lines is anger. Okay, so we've all experienced anger. But when you experience anger, what else is happening? How do you feel it in your muscles, on your skin, in your mouth? And alternatively, how can you imagine it being felt in these different locations, in these different sensorial ways? Poetic language can also be a kind of deluge, so much power all at once. It isn't necessarily chaos. Think of a waterfall, for example. It's a deluge. So much happening all at once. But it has boundaries, it has a direction. So deluge and chaos are not the same. So when thinking about poetic language as compressed, multifaceted, a deluge often, what it's not generally is straightforward with, I would call a big hammer. Take a couple of words we all know. I've said to people in the past, if the word vagina shows up in the poem, that poem better change my life. That word, as important as it is, doesn't carry a lot of compression, of multifacetedness, different meanings at the same time. I'm going to say equal time, the word penis. No, doesn't do it. Whereas interestingly, the words cunt and cock live on a complex landscape. So I don't know if those examples make sense, but it is simply the case that some words live in a complex context, carry more meaning with them, different kinds of meaning with them at the same time, all in the same moment. Simultaneously, words that are used a lot in our language have been used a lot in poetry, perhaps. Often they have lost their meaning. An example, for me at any rate, is the word blood. Now, in the world, it's powerful, it's nauseating, it's memorable. We can't get it out of our mind if we see it, or the way it feels, or the way it smells. But to just use the word blood by itself in a moment, there's a really good chance it's not carrying very much because of how often it is used. It can carry, but in a lot of the work that I'm seeing, that word is being given too much credit, and it no longer carries very well. Again, that's not to say it can't, but there's a lot of setup that needs to happen for that word to have impact. In a sense, we've been overexposed. So watch out for the words that on the surface seem like they carry a lot of power, but actually in the end they really don't, due to overexposure. So I know I'm likely getting myself in some trouble here coming up with specific word examples, because someone is gonna turn around and write the most brilliant poem that features the word vagina that the world has ever seen. And brava, do it, fantastic. Similarly with the word blood, you bet you can make it something extraordinary, for sure. I mean, we've got the word moon. Poets are going to be writing about the moon forever. We know that, and the moon is going to hang on to its meaning, and we're good with that. But the general principle, I hope, is the one that you will leave with, which is the idea that we don't have a lot of words. We need to choose them carefully. We need to choose them for their complexity, their impact, their newness sometimes, though not out of cleverness or whimsy. They're new because they have to be new for the moment that you're getting at as a poet. Good luck in your writing. This is hard stuff, and I'm so glad you're here with me. Thank you. and have a great rest of your day.